Hello, this is a video recorded by Brian D. Hill of USWGO. This is a legal argument. Argument 0219. That is the shortcut name I will use in quick arguments with people. Argument 0219 is about the Constitution and private entities. Now, from what I understand, many people have validly stated that private entities do not go with the Constitution, that Constitution only applies to governments, and that they can do whatever they want. My argument against them is that if Constitution does not apply to private entities, but only to governments, then this allows our government to have a large loophole in the Constitution. That if they can do whatever they want, then all the government has to do is hire private entities to work with the U.S. government, which I'm sure there's plenty of private entities that would gladly take away our democracy, such as communists and such. That if the Constitution doesn't apply to private entities that work with the U.S. government, then this allows our government to openly commit treason. And the people's arguments would be like, oh, private entities can do whatever they want. So if they want to work with the U.S. government, then apparently the Constitution is no more. There is no Constitution. Now, that's not what the Founding Fathers would believe. The Founding Fathers set the U.S. Constitution for the entire country. I don't think they just simply set it for government. I do believe that private rights should be allowed. That whatever people do in their own homes, they should have their rights to privacy and their rights to their own private lives. But I also believe that if any private entity works with the U.S. government, then they are no longer a private entity. They are a public entity, such as Government Motors. Well, that used to be known as, General Motors. This argument is also to be used against Google because Google is working with the NSA, which is the National Security Agency, which is a government organization. I believe that if a private entity was not koshered, wasn't blackmailed, it wasn't forced into this, then I believe that if they willfully signed a contract with the U.S. government to allow the NSA to work with Google, then I believe this makes Google a public entity, and that they are no longer a private entity and should not be allowed to do whatever they want. I believe that under those circumstances, Google is no longer a private entity. They are a government entity. If these arguments are not valid, then apparently our Constitution isn't valid either, because the way to easily commit treason and subvert the Constitution is to rely heavily on subversion groups and private entities. This means that all one of our political leaders have to do is work with a corporation and have them support subversion. Then they can overthrow our government and overthrow our Constitution, and it won't even be heard in court. I believe that any leader that openly uses private entities or privately uses private entities to subvert the Constitution or to subvert around it, then I believe it is treason. I believe it is treason, pure and simple, that is punishable by death. So any politicians that use private entities as a way to be able to do whatever they want and subvert the Constitution, or have the private entities work with the president, I believe that is treason as well. Because if the government can clearly work with corporations, then this completely subverts the founding principles that our founding fathers have set. That, we have the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights. I believe any corporation and private entity that works with the government to subvert constitutionalism to subvert any kind of Bill of Rights, constitutional law, then I believe it's treason. This argument, again, is argument 0219. You must put this number anytime someone says that private entities can do whatever they want. Now, if the private entity is working with the government or government agencies, then this argument should be used against these people that say private entities can do whatever they want. Because if they work with the government, I don't believe they're private entities anymore. I believe they're they're not corporate entities anymore. I believe they're government entities. And it's not a belief, it is fact. This is my argument. This is not a belief. This is a fact that the Constitution applies to governments. But if a government and a private entity work together, no koshering, no blackmail, no, they freely work with the government, then I believe those organizations have to also abide by the Constitution of the United States. Because if they do not, then that's the easiest way to commit treason. The easiest way to commit treason is to use private entities, such as, like, possibly Acorn. Use private entities to get into the government. I remember hearing that fascism is highly illegal, or that I remember hearing that if our government has, top secret meetings behind closed doors privately, that they are committing treason. I remember seeing that on a documentary. I believe that this argument should be valid in every court office and government office. That you need to use this argument anytime someone argues that private entities can do whatever they want. That if a private entity is working with the government, that they should be under the Constitution as well. That the Constitution should reach out to their authority. And that they can no longer have the rights to do whatever they want against the American people. If they do, that's treason. Then our leaders have found a way to commit treason. And treason is punishable by death again. So any corporations that decide to work with the U.S. government and take away our rights, that is treason. And anyone responsible for treason should be punished. And that includes our politicians, like George W. Bush, Barack Obama, John Kerry, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, whoever. Any politician that subverts against the Constitution, whether it be private entities or whether government entities go against the Constitution, I believe it is treason. No, it isn't believed as treason. It is treason, which is punishable by death. So, American citizens, anytime they argue that private entities that work with governments can do whatever they want, then bring in argument 0219. Thank you, everybody, and have a good day. God bless America. God bless the Constitution. And I have sworn to defend and protect the Constitution against enemies, foreign and domestic. Have a good day, America. Goodbye.